Hi, everyone. It is Tracy Chamberlain Higginbotham of Women Ties, and we are here today with a Woman of the Week interview with someone I love. Her name's Deb Coman, and she owns debcoman.com. And you'll understand what she does for a living once we get into the interview. But I always like to say a few things about the women before I start the formal interview. And I want to say that Deb really believes in women supporting women because before she became an entrepreneur, or was in the very beginning of being an entrepreneur, she knew of a woman who was looking for an event planner and manager for a large retreat of hers in the Berkshire Mountains of Massachusetts. And Deb recommended me to this woman. And it was a wonderful event and very lucrative. And I have to spend some extra time with Deb because she was there too. And it wasn't until after that, I think, that she started her business and then joined Women Ties. And so I'm really honored that she's been part of Women Ties for a while and that we're going to talk a little bit today about her expertise, which is content and social media marketing and repurposing your content. So welcome, Deb.
Thanks so much. It's so good to see you, Tracy.
So good to see you. And I honestly remember that event. I think it was with Jenny Fenig, or it was a beautiful
Yeah,
event in the fall in the Berkshires. And
it was a lot of fun. And I love that you brought that story up because it really is about connection
mhm.
and that part of, I knew her and I knew you and you were a bit of a fit and it worked out, really nicely. And I just love looking at the people that I meet online and in real life that way as to how can we support each other? What can we do to bring more business owners together so that everybody gets what they need.
Right. And I just remember you doing that for me, and I was very grateful. Funny story, if anybody's listening, and now don't turn it off after I mention this. I never liked Brussels sprouts, but the place that she had the event at, it had the most wonderful Brussels sprout salad, and ever since then I've loved Brussels sprouts. So thank you. My mom thanks you
Uh,
too.
I love it. I love it. Another big win.
Yeah, right. See what networking can bring you, the love for vegetables you never liked.
Exactly.
But I wanted you to share a little bit because I know, marketing, content, and all these different words that we use, not every woman business owner understands kind of exactly what we're talking about. So, can you explain what content is and why you feel it makes a difference?
Sure, love to. So I think of content, you'll probably see a whole lot of different ways to have it described. To me, content is our messaging and how we show up. So for me, content refers to what we post on social media, what we write in our blogs, what we speak, much like we're doing here today.
Mhm.
It's all the way to share our message so that our ideal clients can find us, can connect with that, and can make a buying decision ultimately. And it just deserves the right attention because it's such a great way to create more opportunities for your business and actually to generate more sales.
Right. It's funny because I started my first business, the event planning business that you referred me to, back in 1995. And Facebook and social media was not popular back then. So when I was planning events, I couldn't utilize, people found me by word of mouth or found me by brochures. You remember those days, or, press releases where we would do events and that kind of stuff. So social media marketing's been around for a long time, but I'm not sure if women understand too the importance of being consistent in your message when you're using your content, or how to use your brand to make sure you're carrying it through all your different places that you market. Do you have any advice or tips on that for women?
Yes, I do. And actually that I'm glad you bring that up too, because it is not an add-on to a business. It's really very central to the success of many businesses. And just a few quick statistics. Content marketing brings in 3 times as many leads as traditional marketing. I mean,
Okay.
that's a big difference, and it costs 62% less. So it's something that we can really do in our businesses without as much effort to get much better results. And small business owners that use content marketing get 126% more leads than the businesses who don't.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's really, again, quite a big distinction. So the challenge for many is to bring that, what you said, to bring that connective piece online,
Mhm,
when for many of us, it's just so much more natural to do in real life, when we're seeing people, when we're networking at events in person. And when we need to kind of bring that brand, as you said, online, some people get a little bit tripped up. And what I'm really all about is helping people relax into that
mm,
place of knowing what works for their brand,
mhm,
that they, for many of us, we are the face of our brand.
right,
And it is about us. It is about, just as you shared, Tracy, what you do when you wake up in the morning to start your days, where you like to find yourself in your free time. The more that we can share that with people online, the more they get to know us as a person
mhm,
and then as a business owner. And it establishes trust and connection.
right,
And then ultimately, it helps people make a decision about buying.
mhm,
And I really speak a lot to my clients about, we really, it's not necessarily about the sale
mhm,
so much as helping people make a decision. And the decision might be no, it's not the right thing for me, it's not the right time. That's perfectly fine. But we want to speed up the process by which they make that decision.
mhm,
Are we the right person to help them solve the challenge that they have?
right,
And our content is just a fabulous way to do that. So, yes to social media posting, yes to writing blogs, emailing our list, not as a chore, not as a just check the box, but
right,
to have meaningful connection with the people on the other end.
right. And you know where this I can relate recently, women ties, and this was just before the pandemic. We were going across the state. So we were going to Albany and Saratoga areas. We were going like 3 times a year, and then we went down to like 2 times a year because I have a lot of great resources in that area. I got an email request from a woman in Saratoga asking me for the name of the CPA that came to an event that we were at, or another name of a women-owned business that she could hire because she remembered my message about hiring from women first and foremost. And I recognized the name of the woman, but I mean, I have probably not seen her for 5 years. And so when that kind of request comes through, I think people understand my brand, or if they're still following me on social media, they know I'm like buy from women first and foremost. So that was a really
Exactly.
made me smile, like, thank God somebody knows what I'm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really how I zeroed in on content marketing and content conversion as my real best gift to help, women entrepreneurs, because I did it pretty naturally. And it is much like you, it got me a lot of different opportunities that I probably never would have had. I wouldn't have even sought out. So my presence online, I was asked to join a leadership team for a global organization of women speakers. I was asked to write Facebook ad copy for very high level Facebook and Instagram influencers. Many of the ads that you see in your feed, I've written the copy for. And all that because people got to know me through my message, not even having met me in real life.
Right.
Most recently, it struck me too because I hopped on the new social media networking platform called Clubhouse
Yep.
and saw a person I spoke with over a year ago for 15 minutes. I was supporting a program and she remembered me. She remembered the tip I gave her. She told me what, the results she had gotten by using the strategy. And that was from a little tiny bite-sized interaction.
Right.
But that's how powerful it can be when we can convey that in our messaging. So where many business owners kind of freeze up a little bit, like,
Mhm.
what do I write about? How am I going to get people to open the email or even stop the scroll to read my post? It's worth digging into that and
Mhm.
getting really, improving what captures attention for the people we want to serve. We have to remember it's like not about everyone
Right.
reading our emails or everyone reading our posts or watching our videos. It's the people who need us. So if you're a woman business owner listening in today and you are looking to create more sales, that's why you're tuning in to what Tracy offers, because you know she gets you,
Mhm.
and her brand lets you know that this is what she's all about. So she's not going to take your time with an interview that has nothing to do with women,
Right.
getting more sales, right? And
And
that's the beauty
you'll
of your
never see a
brand.
man of the week interview.
Yeah, you will not. No, sir.
Yesterday with my brother going for his dissertation and trying to become a PhD, I was very pro Jacob and men yesterday. So people are probably like, what's going on? She's not
No.
promoting one of her sisters.
But isn't it a beautiful way that you show all sides of
Right.
you, who you are, right? So, I mean, certainly we're not exactly, all the things that we do don't always relate directly to our business, but your values do, right? And that's when people know, what do you value? What do you stand for? And then when they align with that, they want to pay attention. And ultimately, they probably want to do business with you.
Right. Right. It's having people really get to know more of you than just what your profile picture shows. If that's how you're first being introduced to people on kind of a global platform. I watched, and I think it was pretty early on, but maybe you're still doing it. I remember that you got involved right with the, I think it was the Women's Speakers Association, and you had some. I remember seeing that you were jetting out to California to participate. I don't know if you had a public speaking gig or if that's where they met, but I remember thinking, look at that Deb Coman flying across the country to California to open up business opportunities. I just wondered
Yeah.
if content led to that, or just involvement in a national organization led to those opportunities for any woman that's listening, or was it just
Yes.
fate kind of that?
Well, yeah, this is awesome too, because so that, as I shared a little bit about, I was in the Facebook group for this organization and just engaging, just saying, hey, I understand, because there were sometimes people post what they shouldn't be posting and all that. And I just was supporting the person running the group. And they said, we could use someone like you to help. And I thought, oh, okay, sure. What does that involve? Well, little did I know, it led very quickly to being one of just a handful of leaders of this global organization. We're in 120 countries and serve women much like you do, Tracy. Women, we believe every woman has a message and we want to help her get that out, just like what your work is. So going to California was their retreat, our leadership team retreat. And so again, it was, and where we not only work on the organization, but our own businesses. So
Mm,
when you talk about opportunity, I would have never envisioned any of that, and getting to essentially mastermind with very, established women, powerful women leaders who I would not have met most likely ever. And now I was getting, not only to help support, but to get feedback on my own business, that yes, it does lead to other speaking opportunities, clients, working in many different ways and just expanding what we're all
mhm.
about. So when I meet women business owners who say, oh, I don't know about the online space, I think, okay, you have no idea what you are missing.
Right.
You have no idea what's possible. I have 2 more interviews this week that came directly from social media.
Wow.
Women I just met, engaged with online,
Mhm,
on one on Twitter. Actually, they were both on Twitter now that I think about it, but we take that conversation offline,
mhm.
and then we find opportunities to collaborate where they say, I'd love to have you speak to my community, much like we're doing. So that's not possible if we stay quiet
Right.
and we just blend in
Mhm.
and we post without really showing up,
Right.
which is why I'm so passionate about helping people get more clear about their content and their messaging so that they can have those opportunities.
Right. And I think that, I think saying yes, I went to an Ithaca event when we first took women ties to Ithaca. And there was somebody that spoke about saying yes to possibilities and to try to do it for a week. like say yes. It was sort of like that movie that I think that Jim Carrey was in. It was like, instead of saying no, man, he was like saying yes to everything, and he ended up, funny. And some of the most interesting opportunities and women that I met came from saying yes during that week period of time. And then from there, I took it to even like you saying yes to getting involved with the global organization 261 Fearless, which was a running organization, which was part of my, what I love to do offline. But that opened up a PR opportunity for me as well. So I guess I would say to women, sort of based on what you've said too, is, you've got to say yes to things. You can't say yes to everything, but there are opportunities you can say yes to that might really truly open the door to, yeah, sales,
Yeah.
women that then connect you. Catherine Switzer, who's the head of 261 Fearless, introduced me to Billie Jean King. Billie Jean King, I got involved with her Women's Sports Foundation. I mean, all because I said yes to an opportunity to help 261 Fearless. So
Yeah.
women, say yes.
It's true.
Part of it.
I did not want to go on that retreat. I thought, I don't know that I can leave my family. I don't know that I can fly right now. I blah, 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 blah. But yes, something said, wait a minute, there might be this, let's see what it's about. And I wouldn't be here with you today. And
Mm.
probably I wouldn't even still be in business because we all know the statistics work a bit against us to make it online. As a small business owner, many don't make it
Mhm.
and or burnout trying. So when we can make those, say yes to those opportunities, make those connections that really broaden our visibility is the biggest
Right.
piece.
Mhm.
And women making connections for other women, then we get to be on the other side of that statistic and be the ones that get to stick around. Like, look at you, right?
Right.
And we may evolve and things may shift a little bit, but we get a foothold in this amazing place to do business
Yeah.
where we get to, work with people in other countries
Mhm.
or regions. I mean, I know you're more regional, but you can expand
Right.
to where, however far you want to go, when you can make that connection online.
Right. Oh, yes. I mean, we just had for Women Ties, we had Dr. Julia McGrattan on. She is somebody I met through 261 Fearless who lives in London. Who's a doctor, who is now a running coach and an author of 2 books. And the women over, that I've met internationally are just as fabulous as the women are here in the United States. And, it's just an ocean away, or I say regionally, it's only the highway away. Like, come on, now with the pandemic, everything's been on hold. But I mean, get in your car and travel and do what you need to do to open up your network.
Exactly.
I wanted you to explain just a little bit about your philosophy. I think you have something called the 4C method of content. And I
Yeah.
actually don't know too much about that. So I thought this is the perfect opportunity
Great.
to learn and for others to learn as well. So can you just
Oh.
explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure, Tracy. Thank you. I use the 4C method for content to how, to do this thing that we're talking about is, okay, that's all great to be on social media, but how do we get to the point of making sales and getting more clients and building our businesses? So there are 4Cs that relate to what we do with our content. The first is clarity. And we need to really, buckle down and figure out who we're trying to reach. What is it specifically about that ideal client, and what message of ours is the one that they need to hear to make that decision? What do they need to know? What are those things? They need to trust us. They need to know we have credibility and expertise. They need to know we have a track record of success. And also who we are, that in and that piece of clarity is worth every bit of effort to figure out that, because the rest is just not going to be on solid ground
Right.
if we move through the rest of the seas. So spending time getting really clear and knowing what we stand for, and like as we've talked about, bringing that into our content is really critical. The second one is connection. That's the one I love the most.
Mhm.
And it is, how do we use our content to connect with people? We need to really pay attention to how they like to consume content. We
Mm.
could do video till we're blue in the face, but if they're not people who watch videos,
Right.
guess what? We're invisible, we're
Mhm.
glossed over. So we need to know even in the form of emails. What do they like about emails? Many people like a lot of white space so they can read it easily. And it's amazing what a difference you can make when you put some of these strategies to work, where the message is basically the same, but you've now stepped into the client's their shoes, I should
Right,
say.
right.
And what's it like for them? Are they podcast listeners or not? We
Mhm.
can't just pick the thing we love
Yeah.
and think that's good enough. They'll listen or they'll pay attention. So it's really important to have meaningful connection too.
Mhm.
That's why the more we share about ourselves, the more we can be vulnerable
Mhm.
when things are not going well. It's not about we figured it all out, come work with me. It's more like I've been where you were and here's what I figured out and it works. I
Right.
want it to work for you too. And that helps them pick us over other people.
Mhm.
And maybe it is because we're animal lovers or we have kids or we don't have kids or, so that when we bring that into the conversation, they have more they can connect with us. So clarity, connection, you mentioned this already, consistency.
Mhm.
We need to be there. We can't just drop off for long periods of time and think everyone's going to remember us and be ready when we have a sale. We
Yeah.
have to stay connected when there aren't sales. We
Right.
have to stay connected for the sake of connection. So it doesn't mean you have to post every day, although that's awesome if you can. It doesn't mean you have to email 4 times a week, but if you're emailing every 6 weeks, you're going to probably get forgotten. So I say that just to help people look at where they're at
Mhm.
and make decisions about what's important to you. And we want to reach out to those of us who especially are service-based business owners. We want to provide that service. And if we have products, we want to get that product in the hands of people who need it. So clarity, connection, consistency leads to the last one, which is conversion. And conversion is what we want. We want people to have an invitation, a call to action, come into my program, hire me to help you do this, and bring them to that decision point. Like I said, it's okay if the decision is no. We want to get them to that point so they have all the information they need. And then we need to make that invitation to them. So some people post a lot, email a lot, share a lot, but they're not putting it out there.
Mhm.
Hey, I have some room for private clients. I have a new program coming up. I want to kind of get you ready to hear more about what that's going to look like. And they wonder why they're not getting sales. Like we can't leave it up to people to say, hey, do you do this? Because I need you. We
Right.
need to say, here's how I serve my clients. If that's you, let me know what you need. So if you follow the 4 C's and look at where your content is at right now and bring some of those pieces more into alignment, you will get better conversion. I've seen it happen, hundreds and thousands of times with people who put this kind of effort into their content. And I want to say one last thing about that. And when I say effort, it doesn't have to be hard work.
Yeah.
We tend to make it harder than it needs to be.
Mhm.
And I don't know, Tracy, if you can share how you show up so regularly with your blog and your emails. I imagine it's not a chore for you because you're passionate about what you do there. Is that true? Right?
It's true. My writing, I think everything I do comes from very emotional, experience related. So if I'm, out on a bike ride and I'm moved by something, I now have learned that I have to write it down. And I try to connect it with something to do with business. And I say that to women, at first just being consistent about writing the Wednesday wisdom every single Wednesday. I've been doing that for 16 years. At first, it was like, I don't know what I'm going to write about. And after a while, you do learn from your own sense of inspiration how to find that content to write. And so now I have to write. I feel weird on a day where I don't have anything to write. So yeah, I would say to women, find your, and it could be that the inspiration comes from talking to somebody like another woman business owner listening to a program about Billie Jean King. I mean, we have a women's sports network, so that's why sometimes I write about sports. Get moved by something. And if you are moved by something, I think you can express it in writing and then post it, and people will get to know more about you. So
Exactly.
that's kind of mine. And when you say you're going to do a Wednesday wisdom, you got to do a Wednesday wisdom. So the
Yes.
consistency. Even on vacation, I'd be like, oh no, it's Wednesday morning and I'm on the sand and I want to think about something to write about when I get back, or, kind of
Yes.
guilty not writing.
It's true. Whatever helps you stay consistent. So recently I decided to do Tip Tuesday, much like what
Okay.
you're sharing. And it was a regular Facebook Live. And I thought, oh, okay, here we go. I don't like to really be kind of too structured with my content, believe it or not. So yes, you can have success even if you're not real structured in your organization. But Tip Tuesday, I felt the same way, like, oh, it's Tuesday. I can't log off until I do that Facebook Live. And then 13, 14, 15 weeks later, you're like, you're in the groove. It's not, it's not hard.
Mhm.
And people come to expect it.
Yeah.
And you start hearing back. I love what you're sharing in Wednesday Wisdom. I love what happened on your bike ride, right? People start connecting you
Mhm.
not only to what you do in your business, but what you do in real life. That makes you more of a viable option for them when
Right.
they want to invest their dollars,
Right.
because they feel like they know more about you and how you would approach your work with them.
Right.
And I mean, I'm sure that's a lot of why women join Women Ties. It's not, it's who you are
Mhm.
that helps them to make that decision. And that's something we can all
Mhm.
bring into our own content. And, we do have to be consistent. We do have to be clear. We have to want to make that connection with people and also make the request for the sale when the time is right.
Well, I was going to say, even though we're coming to the end of our time, but when you were saying conversion, part of me was like, even at our networking events, I always produce a sales contact list, and I say to them, it's been great to be here, network. I love being here. But if you came here to network, but you want to convert, you've got to take 2 or 3 people off this contact list. You've got to call them and try to start that conversation. So conversion also, to me is, women becoming more dedicated or committed to making those follow-up sales calls, whether it's with somebody they've met through social media and they can get their information, or whether it's at live networking events, which are going to be starting again soon. Is, yeah, you need to convert the friendliness to a sales. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So.
I know that people hesitate. That can feel kind of scary. They can feel like, well, I don't know if I'm ready to buy, or I don't know how much it's going to be. So it's important to, you're right, to enter into that as a conversation and look at it as an opportunity to connect, not so much to sell or be sold to, which I
Mhm.
know your women do it all the time, where it's about connecting. And that's when you may find, oh yes, I do want to hire you, or hey, here's something we can collaborate on,
Right.
or here's someone I can connect you with, or that's the, I find one of the best ways to do it, which is why I certainly have sales consultation calls, but I also have virtual coffees that I do with people to
Yep.
just say, let's spend 20 minutes just getting to know each other.
Mhm.
Not, no one's pitching anybody else,
Right.
but I want to know more about what you do and how you help. And then, we'll each share that. And it's really, sometimes it's like, okay, great. And we're all set. And other times it just sparks something else. Like, I want to introduce you to someone beyond. So I hope that those watching and listening today will be thinking about that. Whether it's from here or the next networking event, like take it beyond the
Right.
training, take
Mhm.
it beyond that little get together, because I still have women from Women Ties. I know Anne, who I presented with
Yeah. Notre Dame.
years ago,
Mhm.
is so lovely, sends me notes in the mail
Yep.
and reaches out, and we've been meaning to make a formal connection again, and so now that reminds me, I'm going to call you, Anne, if you're listening in. But that's what can happen
Right.
more than that little one-time event where we're together for an hour or a couple of hours. So
I feel
um
like in many ways I'm a female entrepreneur matchmaker, because there are so many women that have met over the past 16 years that are still in relationships with each other in some way,
yes,
shape, or form. So I love that. I love that
Yeah.
that has happened through Women Ties. Well, tell, because we're at the end of our interview time, but tell people how they can learn more about you. Do you want them to visit your website? How can,
Yeah. As you can probably guess, I love to be on social media. So you can find me pretty much anywhere on social media as Deb Coman or Deb Coman Writing. So like Twitter, Instagram, I'm Deb Coman Writing, Facebook. I'd love to connect there. You can get my free gift if you're interested through my website or even going directly to debcoman.com/gift. So it's DEBCOMAN slash .com/gift, and you'll get my guide to address some of the 4 C's and where you might have some holes that you want to shore up in your own content. And then you'll hear from me in my emails that come out every week, just giving you some tips and strategies of what you can do about your content to generate more sales.
well, thank you so much for joining me today. I just love interviews since I get to see your beautiful face. And I think you're the queen of C's because there were a lot of C's coming up and your last name does start with a
There
C.
you go.
So I
There
hope
you
that
go.
women think of that when they think of all of the verbs and adjectives and nouns in business. So thank you very much for everybody watching this interview. And please reach out to Deb, learn more about how she can help you again at debcoman.com. And we'll see you at the next Women of the Week interview. Have a great business day. Bye from women, first and foremost.